Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited about today. I have a lot of new people in the studio who hopefully they're going to, well, not hopefully, I know they're going to ask me some great questions since we're sort of on the same vibrational energy. First of all, I need to just open the show with my book. I just redid this book. It's the old version updated, so please, you can buy this on Amazon or Author House. It's also going to be on, well, it's on Author House, actually. I'm sorry. Once I'm there in my zone, you know, it's hard for me to do this. So please call into the studio, 888-994-4995 with any questions. And my book is for sale. So I'd be happy if you could read the first edition, and then the new one's coming out in 4 months, which is a continuation of this book. So I'm going to open up to the studio audience with any questions that you may have.
Oh, I do. I have one.
Great.
I just have to say, I'm quite impressed by your book, by the way. Just all these pictures that you...
Yes, I do have my art in there.
I cannot believe that you drew these. Just...
Well, actually, that's a beautiful opening for my show, because how that all came about. I was given messages to start painting. I had no idea of any of what I am now talking about 18 years ago.
Right.
And one of the messages that I had, they gave me a message in a dream to start my artwork. So that's how it all started.
And you didn't really know how to paint or anything, or have any classes, or...
No, I'd never had a lesson in my life.
Wow.
So I suddenly, but the crazy part about this, and here I can only tell you what happened to me, and I like to pass this on to other people. At that point, when I started to paint, somebody came into my life who understood a lot what was happening to me. But I was painting from previous lifetimes. I was doing sketches from previous lifetimes. So I would not have known that had someone not pointed that out to me.
So all of this is from a dream?
It is.
From your book.
Well, yes, it's a continuation of how I began to learn, yes.
Ooh, very nice.
So open up to anybody here that's ready to ask me or wants to ask me a question.
Well, I have a question. Can I have?
Yeah. Of course.
So how do you know this is, you know, if you know you're supposed to be going to one path, right? Like you had your dream. How do you get to that place where you have these, not premonitions, but you know you have a guide or an angel or someone that is actually watching over you?
That's a really good question. And my answer to that in my world, and I don't expect everybody to maybe understand this, but we all do have spirit guides. We have spirits, we have family on the other side. And we don't always know that, but first part about this is awareness, and that's what I try to do very much with my show, to make people aware that there's so much more going on than what we understand or even know. So I knew nothing 20 years ago about this, and someone came into my life when I was ready, and that's the key word. To be ready, and you may ask me, how do you know that you're ready? But curiosity, what you just asked me is that you have an interest, and I call my show, Call Me Zena, Into the Unknown. There is so much going on that most of us, because we're so busy doing our lives, making money, we listen to the news, that you have to open up. You don't have to do anything, and I do want to say that too, but you open up to something a little bit more than what we actually are understanding.
How do you get to that place?
That's up to completely, and the great questions, up to the individual. I can't tell you, only you know when you're ready. But the fact that you're asking me these questions is, in my mind, that you're beginning to see that there may be something else other than what we just see in the 3D dimension. And it's a lot to do with what the last show was about, was the vibrational energy. When you're ready, we get a lot of synchronicity. In my world, there's no such thing as coincidence. The fact that we're all sitting, and I know that you relate very much to this, we're all sitting on my show today, and I had I had met you, but it was like 2 years ago, and I just met you guys. That it's not coincidence that we're sitting there, and the topic will go to something that will just maybe spark a little bit of interest in what we're talking about, and you're opening up. What you're doing is you're opening up more. It's not about religion. It's not about anything. I mean, I can't put down any of these things because I would never do that. But as long as you have something, a power greater than yourself that you might be interested in thinking that, how did that happen? Notice things that are happening that you're going, could that be coincidence? No, most of the time it's not. It's for us to open our mind to something, that there's something else going on. But you know, we're all at different stages in our lives, and when you're ready, you'll find and you'll notice a lot of things are happening that are really not coincidence. That's really basically my message today, and vibrational energy. Thank you. That was really good. Okay, hi guys.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. We just met, we connect.
Yes,
right
we do.
Away.
Of course.
But
of course, right?
Yeah, and I have another word for coincidence, synchronicity.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yes, because the universe has its own ways, its own GPS. But when you are connected with your path, right path, then you meet all the passengers to go with you, and then you keep just going that journey, letting the universe follow you. And then that's exactly what we're doing right now. We just met, love at first sight, we connected, and now we're here sharing with all of you.
And the most amazing thing, and I mean, Freddie definitely can attest to this, what I'm saying, the amount of people over the 2 years now, it's actually my 2-year anniversary this coming week that I've been doing it. That it's crazy. In a way, the amount of people that have come in that are on, I'm going to call it a spiritual journey, that I always seem to be here when they show up. That's, to me, I understand that, but it's so great to see that happening. It's synchronicity. We actually choose our path. So it would make sense, and I know that you guys understand that we're going to meet somebody that I'm going to say that we've known each other before in previous lifetimes, because you get that feeling. But you're here because we can join together in this journey. So that's and you are part of that, because I met you 2 years ago, and here you are, you're showing up again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a question for me?
Yes, I do have a question.
I know, I felt it.
My name is Mark.
Hi, Mark.
I always wanted to ask this of a psychic reader, and I figured this would be a perfect time to ask you. And another way to present a psychic reading, it's really energy reading, right?
Yes, it is actually, because for me to explain how I do what I do, it's hard, but all I can say is that we tune in to each other. And if there's a question, and I felt very much that I didn't know your question, but I knew that you were waiting to ask me a question. And we have guides. I am guided right now, although I don't mention it too often, but I am in a trance. I don't always remember my show afterwards, but when I start to hear it, it'll come to me. Can I answer these questions when I'm not on the show? Absolutely yes, because they're around all of us. But I believe that they get together, I'm going to call it, on the other side of the veil, on the other side. And they, just like we're sitting here, they're ready to answer, and they know that I'm being asked questions, so they're ready to, I'm the mouthpiece for these guides, so to speak. So I have gone on too much and now too long, and I don't remember the question.
So how much of your energy reading is based on feedback visually, auditory, and also kinesthetics, or the type of words they use?
Okay, what I do is I hear. I don't always see, but I can explain. Maybe there's someone behind you. I can say they have curly hair, or they're light or dark, whatever the color hair or whatever, or what they're wearing. But it's telepathy, and I hear that telepathy. And when I tune in, because just like I'm tuning into you now and into the viewers, or somebody that might call in, I may have a feeling that they're going to call in. It works exactly the same way. We may not be able to see that, but energy lives on. Energy never, ever, as you know, which you had been talking about, never goes away. So it's really all about energy and vibrational energy. So I hear that, I feel it.
Right.
So-
And this energy that you feel it and that you hear it, but it's all dependent on your the person that's calling in, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, yes, the question. I don't like to know any question. To me, it's more validation for me that I will give the answer. Nothing, anything, and you guys are new to my show. I prepare nothing. I do not prepare this at all. And Freddie very often asked me, Sally, prepare. But it's hard for me to prepare. But I know that I'm ready because I know that I'm going to get feedback, and I'm getting feedback from my guides.
Okay.
So it's vibrational
And,
energy.
but sometimes it is from the actual person that's calling in too. You're getting.
Oh, I'm picking. I see. Yes, I'm picking up. I'm picking up energy. It doesn't matter whether it's from the other side, whether it's here in the studio audience, or maybe it's in England where I'm from. I'm going to pick up that energy because I'm tuned into that energy.
Right.
Am I tuned in all the time? I hope not, because it becomes very overpowering. But yes, I can do that. I can do that in a, it's not about me. It's about any of us. And I'm the first person to say that because I believe that we can all do this. It's just that you need to become aware that you can do it. And you will see some amazing things happen in your life. So I just said to somebody the other day, I would not change my life for anything. I love what I've tuned into.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're saying pretty much we're all energy readers and stuff. We're all
We're
psychic.
we're all psychic, what we
Right.
call psychic. It's just that a lot of us, because there's so much going on, I could talk about how we're controlled, and it doesn't matter. It's just there, okay? So they kind of tell us it's, because we're so busy living our everyday lives. But I believe, and I've never mentioned this before, through COVID, and I mean, I'm not saying it was a good thing, but a lot of people sat back. They had to be in their homes. And I think a lot more people became aware that there were
I'm
other
one of
things.
them.
Okay, so I was maybe picking up your energy through
Yes.
that because yes, it was not good to have COVID. It was not
Yeah.
good. But in some ways it worked for us because we didn't have all that outside chatter from everything.
Absolutely. I'm a performing artist. My name is Sylvia Brazil. I'm a performing artist since the age of 9. Travel all over the world. And then pandemic came and we're in the lockdown and I got off the automatic. It was that
And
silence.
you had more time, right?
And that, the quantum emptiness. And we're like, what do we do now? And then I said, okay, let's start. I was never psychic. I never had special abilities. But as a performing artist, you have to tune in your energy. And I call that intuition. When you have that connection, that's a natural thing. All of us has. The animals has. Nature has it. So then I started studying alchemy, which is the ancient knowledge of hermetic principles. In Brazil, it's a big deal. There is a modern school of alchemy. It's a 2-year course. It's recognized by the Ministry of Education in Brazil. It's a big deal. It's also recognized by the Ministry of Health in Brazil. And the alchemy laboratory is recognized now in FDA in the United States.
Thank you for sharing that. Only we have viewers that we kind of, and I love what you're saying, but we kind of limit it if we can to like 2 minutes because there are people waiting.
And I have
But
a
I'm
question for
so
you.
interested. Questions, but great.
Yes. Why call me Zena?
I love that question, and I'm glad that I interrupt you at that point. I was given a message, which is in my book, actually. My first book explains exactly how all this happened. And someone told me, I'm going to say my guide, but I didn't know at that time, call yourself Zena. I believe, and I know that you're going to relate to this, Zena is my higher self, and that's the name that I give to Zena. For anybody or any of our listeners viewing, we have a higher self that's in contact with, as you know. And I believe that Zena is who I come in contact with Zena, plus my guides from, I don't often mention this, but it's the Galactic Federation. So they help me with all of this. And I certainly did not mean to interrupt you, but I know that I believe, and he's disappeared now actually, but I think G-Man?
He's coming.
He was about to ask me a question, so, okay.
All right, and another thing, not to talk about us, but everybody else, the lockdown was a global event. Everybody was on the same boat. And today, there's a lot of people like now after the fact, a lot of people complaining, that's, there's a lot of bad news everywhere. But the sky is open. the sky is open, the channel, the portal is open, so you can ask questions, you can develop yourself. There's a lot of opportunities, you know.
And I love that, you know, I'm happy that you're sharing that, because I know that you'd mentioned Lionsgate. For anybody that follows me actually on Facebook, I usually don't, not on the Call Me Zena, but Sally Barnard Facebook, I don't usually do anything really personal or write about how I'm feeling. But the energies were so strong for me the last week or so that I was absolutely, I mean, not even here at some point. And I said, you know what? I have a lot of followers who have the same belief as me on my Facebook. So I said, you know what? I'm going to write and see how many people are going through the same situation. And if you go into, not Call Me Zena, but Sally Barnard, the comments that I got, and many were about Lionsgate. So was that coincidence that you're sitting here talking about Lionsgate? They're saying to me, because that's opening. I'm very much into the 11:11, and I know a lot about that. Did not know that much about Lionsgate, so I'm very, very happy to my viewers that wrote that for you being on the show today. So you know, we're all learning. It's a learning process. Hi, I know you have a question. I feel your vibration.
How's everything, Sally?
Everything is going good. How's everything going with you,
Everything's going
G-Man?
fine. I
Great.
was wondering what my guides have to say for me for this week. I haven't talked to them in a minute.
I'm going to bring up, which I don't usually do. I actually, and you know, I mean, we can all do this, so I'm not saying my ego is telling me to, you know, to say this, but I actually got which we not brought up, the name of your guide, who you knew, I did not know. And I said, this is the name of your guide. So he's definitely here with you right now. Okay, so give me once again, having said that.
I was wondering, what does Ishmael have for me?
What is in store?
What does he have for me this? Like, what does he have to say for me for the week?
Yeah, you need to go slowly with what you're doing right now, okay? Don't jump, they're saying don't jump the gun kind of thing. Don't go beyond where you are. I want to say to you, stay very grounded right now, okay? Things are working for you, very much so, but don't go ahead of yourself. Does that make sense?
It does.
So stay right with what, everything is happening anyway, it's all in our now, everything is going on, but be aware of that. So whatever you're doing, if you have to take your time with it, that's fine, okay? Because you are on the right vibrational energy for what you're doing, but don't go too far ahead. And I often talk about the now, take your now, each now, so to speak, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So don't jump. I keep saying don't jump the gun. It's a little negative to say gun, but that's what I'm feeling. So don't jump ahead of yourself,
Tell
okay?
me to be patient.
So you understand? If there's anything you want me to elaborate on, I can if you ask me a question.
No, they're telling me to be patient.
Be patient, yes,
Keep my
that's
head on a swivel.
basically the words I'm getting. Be patient, because it will work out. But it does, in your mind, you are on the right track. It's your passion with what you're doing. But stay where you are. Each time you do something, don't go ahead of what you're actually doing. Plan it out the best that you can, because it is going to wake up. Oh, I'm feeling the vibration so strong right now in our message that I'm giving you. It's really important to do that.
I can feel it beeping through my chest.
Yeah, I feel it. I can feel it right now. I don't usually feel that. It's very powerful and very strong. You're doing the right thing, but each time you get the message, which you're capable of doing, think it out. Just think it out. But just know you're on the right track. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh, is this strong? Okay.
Sally, I would like to complement what I was saying before, because I had to go to school to learn the techniques that I have today to get more awareness. On your case, you are a natural psychic. How did it happen to you? How it come to you? Just a natural instinct,
Yeah,
and then you went to the flow and to discover what happened.
Thank
Please
you
tell
for
us
that
everything.
too, because I don't often mention how this all came about, but I'll do it I've got it down to 5 minutes or even 3 minutes when I talk about it.
sitting
So if
down.
I go beyond that, just say stop.
I'll
Okay.
start
But I
right now.
I was admitted to hospital, going back about 23 years ago. And they took me in overnight. I don't recall too much, but all I know is I was actually, they told me I could leave the next day. But what I didn't know is that I was completely a different person. But the weird part, if you want to call it weird about this, is that I still continued with my life. I had a message that I could paint, never painted in my life, nothing. I go to work one day where I had been working for a while, and someone comes up to me at work. There's like about 100 people there, and he's standing right behind me. And I'd had a very, very, what I thought at that time, strange experience, dream the night before, shortly after I had been admitted out of hospital. And in my dream, I was flying, and I thought, I'm seeing everything, and I knew nothing. So I thought how this could happen. I did not know where I was. As I'm waiting to get my coffee at work, somebody comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder, just like this, and there's a lot of people there. He said to me, I know where you were last night. So I'm thinking, I didn't even know where I was. But what he did is he told me exactly what had happened in my dream, that I remembered vividly every single detail of it. And he explained to me, there is so much more. I will let you know. You've opened up. I've known you for a year, but now I'm going to start telling you. So how this all unfolded was absolutely incredible, because I was told to paint. I'm drawing, and I'm drawing from past lives. But what I didn't know, this gentleman that had come up to me knew me. He knew where I was. I mean, it's way out for people, and I totally understand that. But I know what happened to me. Having got into my dream, showing my artwork from other lifetimes, he's explaining to me. He never pushed me into telling me what it was, but he said, go into the internet, not just me. What you have drawn, and I'd never seen it, was from the 15th, 16th century, the Renaissance period. So how could I not believe this? I knew this man got into my dream. Having said that, and he's in my book, he's Adamir in my book, became my best and closest friend for 18 years, taught me so much, because he had come in from Peru, where he was, and had looked from me. From a year old, he knew all this. He was, and this is all proven, that he was able to do this. But he explained everything to me. He passed away 2 years ago. He transitioned, but he's never left me. He's even teaching me more. So I know this sounds strange, but anybody listening to me knows about. His name is Aldo Adamir. Buy my book. You can get an e-version of it.
So he was a spirit?
He was here in physicality, but now he's in spirit, but he's still continuing with the messages. Right. How was I able to draw things from previous lifetimes, things I wasn't even sure that there was other lifetimes, but I became a great believer through that. So my story, and part of my beginning of my book, is how this all came about. And yes, of course I want to sell my book, but what it is, it's a continuing. From here, I've written another story about it, which is all continuing to help people. I want to help people to realize that there is so much more than what we see around us. We can see what I'm talking about, we just don't take notice of it.
So with all of that, what's going on today in society and communities and stuff, how can you help others though really being tuned and find their guide? I mean, I'd love to. I've always said I believe that my ancestors are watching me and stuff, but to really have that connection, I wouldn't say I have that connection.
Okay, I love these questions, really, and I guess really have just got to meet you all, except you had met 2 years ago. How do we find that? I can only tell people what's happened to me. I can only pass this message on by example of what has happened to me. Do I expect everybody out there, or you guys I know are on a spiritual journey, and I believe you certainly are too. The fact that you're sitting here, the fact that I'm saying these things, you don't have to believe any of this, but it's going somewhere into your psyche, if that makes sense. Yes, your relatives are with you. I can give you many messages, we can do that maybe another time. The fact that they are around you, you've started, I can only tell you, it's still up to you. You have actually started your path. I feel that very, very strongly. The fact that you've met these people here that are definitely on their path, the fact that you're sitting as a guest on my show, this is not coincidence. The other thing is, we met 2 years ago, as I had met my guide many years ago, but never spoken to him. We're having more of a conversation. You're my guest on my show today. It'll get you thinking. That's all it's meant to do. It'll open you up. Okay, does that make sense to you? Thank you.
I hear silence. Should I say something?
Heck yeah.
All right. So I want to say something.
We can get one for you ready.
I think in the moment of Renaissance,
Illuminism, they divided, medicine, and they divided spirituality and science. There was a division in everything. And today, we have internet, we have access to everything when we're writing a new story. So there are some scientists out there and people that are proving spirituality through science. So, and it's very interesting that we have the ability to be here right now.
Sally, we have a question
I
on the.
see that.
It
Yes.
says,
I'm
"Do
sorry,
you?"
but yes, okay. This is from Marita. Do you
Marita,
know
do
who
you-
told you to paint? Okay, Marita, and we do know one another, and she's definitely on her spiritual path. We kind of did this in the beginning together. We learned so much many, many years ago. Hi, Marita. I actually do know who told me to paint, and I know why you posted that message today. You did. Marita told me to paint. Thank you. I am getting goosebumps, okay? The fact that I'm reading that is something that you had not ever mentioned. She's been on my show many, many times writing it. Marita, who I met in physicality in this life, was the lady who explained to me in my dream, quote, exactly where I was through going through a little, like a street, Marita. And she's not here to tell you this, but we related so much. And for that, I'm so grateful that we became friends after that.
Wow, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
that was Marita. And Aldo, who was my guide, was there to help me through this whole process and still has never left me too. And if you buy my book, it's Adamir in my book. He didn't, at that point, he had no ego. He did not want anyone to know his name. But he has passed, and I know that he's telling me it's okay now. So
That's awesome. Wow.
So any other?
I have a question for your
I think,
guides.
yeah,
Okay, after.
So you mentioned guides. The guides, I guess, will be same as the energy. It could be from anywhere. It could be my guide, could be your guide, could be Sylvia's guide.
Absolutely, because the questions, I mean, and I know that you guys understand that, so I can say that. And I had mentioned this to you, I'm only as good as the question that I get. But I believe, just like we're sitting here, they're doing the same thing on the other side, let's say, of the veil. They're also saying, oh my gosh, it's Sally's show today, call me Zena. So what would happen if you're sitting here? What would you say? Wouldn't your guides appear? So yes, a lot of the questions, and I want you to see that too. They're with you. We all have guides, and we sometimes incarnate with our guides, as I did with my friend who gave me these messages and understood what was happening. As Marita too, we have what we call soul groups that come down with us when we come in. And they're sometimes we leave them and they guide us, or they guide us here on our journey. So we will meet them along the way, but we have to be kind of in tune that there is more, because it doesn't just happen, it happens, but we don't all, I had them for many years and didn't know. I was very psychic as a child. My parents even brought in a psychic. I was talking to people, but I wasn't really ready until all this happened. So I've had this most of my life. I just became aware of it 20 years ago. Hi. Okay, we're going to take a commercial, and I always say, and I'm always saying, I'll see you on the other side of this commercial. Thank you. My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly. And they looked at each other and they said, we're not really waking her up. They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say what in the world is going on. And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
In real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Okay. Hi. We're back from the other side of this commercial. I love doing that. Okay. Anybody here? I'm going to open it up to our viewers or anyone in the studio. I'm ready to answer questions.
Sally, I got a question for you. Today was an interesting day because we had a whole bunch of what I like to call people that are aware of what's going on with their spirituality, portals and things of that nature. Was there a change in studio today in what was going on? Now, you've been here almost 2 years, come tomorrow.
I felt, yes, but Freddie, we've had that before. It's just, it was very noticeable today. I find that when I'm here, I'm always here when someone who is understanding, I'm not going to say, it's nothing wrong in not understanding, but an understanding more of my message and they can relate to it. So today was very special. It was even more special, which I think I opened up a little bit to this because as much as I don't know everything and I wasn't familiar with Lionsgate, but Steve, if you're listening, and he knows that the last week I have been saying, and he'll tell you if he wants to call in, I'm feeling not grounded. I'm feeling very different over this last week. I never put anything on Facebook that's like personal pertaining to what's going on with my health, but I felt that I needed to let people know that I'm going through not feeling grounded, wondering what's going on. And suddenly, and anyone that wants to look at my Facebook under Sally Barnard, not the Call Me Zena, I must have 40, 50 messages of people mentioning Lionsgate and all the things that we were talking about today. It's right there on my Facebook. So to me, this was absolute validation that I was going through something that I wasn't even aware that I was going through. So it was putting me a little off balance. Now that I know, I feel very balanced and I'm very grateful that I was given these messages. So it was great to have you guys in the studio who were talking about Lionsgate. Steve, if you're listening, write something or call in and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
And this portal experience is also like a shift. It's like when the airplane is taking off, it gets a little shaky because you are elevating your vibration. And that's exactly what's happening in a collective consciousness. And it's important to be aware of it so you can embrace it, fasten your seatbelts, and enjoy the journey.
Thank you so much. That's great. Great.
It's part of being overwhelmed. It's funny, you put on Facebook, and I've never seen you do that before, about certain characteristics, let's call it that, for lack of a better word. I know somebody else who was going through the same thing, and she was telling me the same thing, not feeling themselves, they weren't balanced. There was a lot of things going on. Is all this about the pull
I
of
think
what's going
so.
on?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I totally can relate to the other person that was going through it too. I did not know at the time. I knew that I wasn't feeling myself. It was like I was being drawn into other things, even so much so, and I actually will mention this because I don't know, I felt like I was sinking into the ground. I'm walking, and Steve will be telling you this. He said, he was home. What's going on with you? I said, I'm sorry, my moods were changing. I was not me. I was not grounded. But now I see that, and it was a very important message for me to understand that, because what's happening, the gravity of the moon, the gravity of Earth, is all to do, I believe, and I still don't know too much about Lion's Gate, but I'm certainly going to find out, because it's affecting people, especially what I would call empaths. They're picking up that energy. And if you're not aware of it, which I wasn't aware of it, I now know what was happening to me, and I'm very grateful because it's opened me up to another part of my journey. So yes, it was real. It was real for anyone else that was going through it, and still is.
Yes. While we were sitting down here, all the cells and all the atoms, everything in our body is moving. While we're sitting down here, the universe, it's the planet, it's expanding in the universe. Everything's constantly in movement. And then when we have this quantum leap, which is a Lion's Gate, it's a portal, and then not only like the astrological side of it happens by itself, but when you align yourself to it, you just go in it, in this jump in this quantum leap together. And that's why we are here, not only to enlighten ourselves, but to share with everybody at home.
Thank you.
So it's feeling the same.
That was an important message. Do I have anybody else is anybody writing, Freddie? Excuse me, my voice is going. Okay.
I have a question for you and your guides. What are their message for the 8/8 Lion's Gate?
Well, since I'm just coming in tune with it, I'm very grateful. Yes, I actually, and I don't know if there's anything, because I don't know too much about Lionsgate, but it's coming to me and they're telling me, is that I was, as Marita, my friend who's listening, I'm more into the 11/11, but I don't think it's that unsimilar, because it's all about what's happening in the world, making us more spiritual aware, because I saw the number, I'm on an 11/11 pathway. And the only thing that I will say that I did study many years ago was the 11/11. I found it absolutely amazing. So I see that there's some connection with Lionsgate too. Unfortunately, for some reason, I overlooked out Lionsgate, but now I'm more than ready to find out about that. So we are given, even if it's subconsciously, I was going to pick up books that were all about 11/11. I'm sure I'll find many more now on Lionsgate. Thank you.
Yeah, and the number 8 is the infinite sign, you know, and the universe is always conspiring like up and down, up and actually the stars, and it moves like that, up and down, like doing the 8 symbol. You know, they took a picture of the sun. I saw on the internet that the sun actually does an 8 in the sky. And the equinox is actually the middle of the 8. So everything is right there. And the example, the number 1 is the 1. It's a fantastic number because 1 is the first and it's everything.
So any viewers or anybody that might call in that wants to ask some questions on that, I'm going to try and do my best to answer them through my guides, but let's see what happens. Is there anyone in the studio that wants to ask anything else? Do you have another question? You have a burning question. I feel that you do. Freddie,
go ahead.
Speaking of guides, I don't know if there's any of my guides around me, because I'm surrounded with people that can see my guides, but I can't see them myself.
Yeah, but what they're actually telling me to call you, and for some reason I do remember your name, but they're wanting to tell Smiley, which I knew, okay? There's Smiley, yes, they're 100% with you right now. And you're doing a lot of things. That's what I'm feeling, okay? But you're doing, and you're also, in between doing a lot of these things, you are following your passion. And that passion is going to help a lot of people. That's what they're telling me to tell you. I don't know too much about you, but I was very interested in what you're doing. So I'm feeling that I know you do something with the drums, okay? Which I know a little bit, like the movement of that. Keep following your spiritual path, which I know that you're doing. I know that you do other things too. Having just met, I got a little idea because I'm getting a vibrational energy a little bit. But the spiritual side of what you're doing is really, really important to carry that through, because you do have a following. You are up in front of a lot of people. So I'm feeling very much that they're telling me to please continue doing that. They are around you, they're helping you, and they're giving you many messages.
Thank you.
Freddie. Oh, hi.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. You met me once
I
before.
absolutely do, but please give me your name once more.
Danny, and
Danny,
as
yes,
Freddie
I
calls me
remember
now,
Danny.
Highlight.
Danny. Hi, Danny. Yes. You look different today than what you did last week.
I get usually told that I have chameleon spirit, that I look different
I see
every time
that.
people meet me. That's why I always say, you met me before, but
Absolutely. No, I see
people
that.
usually forget
Yeah.
because
I
I look
said come
different.
on my show and ask me a question. So
no, I didn't get to last time. I
No,
left
you didn't,
early,
but
so.
great. So you're here now. So what is your, do you have a question?
I don't have a burning question, but I just want to hear what you have
Okay,
to
it doesn't
say.
have to be a burning question. A question's a question.
What do you have to say for me then? How about that?
So
What do the guides
Put
have
it
to
in
say
the,
for me
yeah,
then?
okay. What are your guides telling you? Okay, they're very for what, you are spiritual, very, I say spiritual, you understand this. We're all on a journey, but you are in your journey. You're a little more ahead of that actually than what you actually think that you are. And one thing that's, I remember meeting you, and I remember you saying that you hadn't met a psychic or something.
No, you're my first person that I've met
and
in
that
person.
made me want to, I felt very connected when you said that.
Yeah, it's funny,
because
when I was in the control room right now, I look and I told you how I have my tattoos 111, and
Yes.
your username has 111.
I
in
didn't
it.
know
I'm
that.
like, that is hilarious.
No, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
this is my
Okay.
tattoo.
Yes,
for
so I
my
feel that they're
symbolism.
telling me to tell me that, because 111, 1111, or 3 ones or ones, very, very big connection with me.
Me too.
So there you go. And we had only just met each other for a few minutes, right? So yes, that's absolutely validation. You are on your spiritual journey, and you know that. So listen, because what you're doing is usually, I'm going to say usually because we sometimes get ahead of ourselves, but what you feel within you, go ahead and do that, because you're definitely on the right track. And that was validation for me too, okay, the 1111.
I tend to see fear as excitement. That's the best way I can look at it most of
Beautiful.
the time.
Yeah.
You know, because if I get sweaty, clammy fingers and hands and stuff like that, my voice gets cracky, I tend to not associate it with the negative connotation.
Right.
As she was talking about earlier as well, you know, but letting go of that fear, I feel like it's a collective thing, and it's unfortunate when everybody feels it just because one person walked into the room with that, you know?
Absolutely, and the more because I wanted to make this show a little bit about the vibrational energy too.
No, yeah,
because
like we were
we're
talking
putting
about earlier.
forth energy. So if we all come in, and I brought this up many times on my show, someone will come in and say, oh, I'm having such a bad day. Having voiced that, the universe will only take what it hears. So that bad day, unfortunately, can go into a worse bad day. But even if you're not feeling that you're having a great day, say, I am having a wonderful day today.
I am an advocate for that.
Absolutely. So my show is very much about being
I feel
positive.
like people tend to take it on the rude side or blunt when you just ask them kindly. You know, I don't want to talk about gossip. I don't want to talk about the negative things that someone else told you, but you want to let it off onto me because you need something to let go of the negative feelings.
Absolutely.
But it's not for me to also hear it as well, because you're affecting how I feel.
Well,
now,
it can bring us, you know, it can bring you down. I mean, somebody will call me and say, let me tell you about my problems.
Stop it there.
And I have
Stop
to
it
be
there.
not rude, but I have to say, you know where I'm coming from. I can only, if you tell me, I'm going to bring your positive, and I've said this last week, a negative into a positive, because we are here to learn. So if you're going to tell me your negatives, I'm going to turn it around into a positive, because that's who I am. I can't help that. I'm not going to bring
Me
myself
too.
down. And if they don't want to listen, then okay, that's all right. Goodbye.
Because at the end of the day, you can only control your reaction, and you can't control anyone else's.
No,
you shouldn't hold on. I genuinely try to live by this. You can have
know
a
you
plan, but don't hold on to what a potential outcome is going to be.
Absolutely, because
You
we
know?
are here to learn, no matter what.
No
and
matter
we do
what.
get a lot of negatives, of course, in our life, because if everything was positive, and I've said this before, we wouldn't know the difference. If everything was white, we wouldn't know what black was. If everything was black, we wouldn't know what white was. So we need that balance. But the thing is, on a negative, if we bring ourselves down onto that negative with that person or even us, it's going to continue. It only goes and continues the way that we are.
That's the way the world is
we
made.
We need to raise that, exactly.
Circulation.
We raise our vibrations, right?
Circulation. Vibrations are neither created nor destroyed, and that's the first law.
Beautiful. I couldn't have said it better. Other people do say it better. And
energy is just emotions. You know, everybody tends to think one thing and then you feel the same thing. Then it goes in a loop. You're going to feel something, then continue filling it with that same thought.
Totally contagious. So I try very hard on my show to turn this all into, and I feel that I'm bringing you in much more on this. And it's not me, but do you feel that you're understanding a little bit more than when you first maybe came into the studio today? Yeah. This wasn't coincidence for you, but just to let you know that it's still up to you. I'm here, you know, if you're in the studio, I'm here to only go by example of what's happened to me. But if that example is going to bring more people into where I am, the more the better, right? And as you know that, so we need to all work together. Is that going to happen? No, it's not. But become aware of it. We can have our own circle of raising that vibrational energy. So I know we're probably coming near to the end. No, we still have a little bit of time. Just by even us sitting here to bring that up to a higher vibrational energy is so important.
I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Freddie has it.
Okay, so now we've all agreed that there is vibrational energy, right? How do you make it grow so that then you can share it or feel good about yourself? So Monday, Tuesday is fine. Wednesday, Thursday gets harder. By Friday, Saturday, you're right back to where you used to be?
Let's eat cake. Love it. We are our own teacher, so to speak. That's what they're telling me. So if you're having a good Monday and Tuesday, because maybe some positive things happened, and suddenly Wednesday, well, not so positive, okay? It's not what we like. But we are teaching ourselves. And as I just said, out of negative, nothing is going to go smoothly forever. It's not. We're not meant to have that even happen. So when you, and I noticed, I didn't want to interrupt before on the show, that if you're having something negative happening, and then you've been positive, does all that positivity disappear? No, it doesn't. But you need to remember what happened during the positive period. So when something negative happens, it can bring your vibrational energy down because that's what happens. But you know what it's like to feel better. So why would you continue with the same, whatever it is? I'm not saying you're always going to solve that problem because the problem is here for us to learn too. But take yourself out of negativity. Even remember my words. Someone said to me one day, they were listening and they heard me actually talking from my show. Know that it will get better. It has to get better if you feel it. It's up to you. We are our own teachers, if that makes sense. So we're given all the negativity for us to learn what's going on.
Yes,
does that make sense?
It's a lesson.
Yeah.
Fear is false evidence appearing real. And one thing that we don't know is that we control our thoughts. Our thoughts do not control us.
Beautiful.
And then when you rethink about it and say, is this real? And then what do I learn from it? And be grateful for that and move on. Then, you know, you're just growing from your experience.
And it's hard, you know, and I completely relate to that because being, you know, when things happen and you turn to be negative, that's what I'm going to say, programmed to understand, the fear. But we have to release that fear the best that we can. Even if everybody around us saying, well, why is she so happy with all this happening? It doesn't matter. As long as we feel that and we continue with that vibrational energy, which is which leads us to a higher dimension, which is a whole nother show, which I know that you know.
But Sally, what if you're at a crossroad? Not bad, good, or indifferent. What if you're at a crossroad in your life that you have to make some decisions? And you got to make some decisions and you don't know what's the right decision because you may pick the wrong decision. How do you approach no fear?
Okay. You go within yourself. I'm not, you know, I meditate, but in my own way. It may be a little different to other people too. You go with your gut. What feels, I mean, my answers to these questions come to me quickly. If I started to think about all these answers the way that I'm doing it, I wouldn't be able to express it the way I do, Freddie. So the same thing happens with something fearful or you're feeling, oh, I don't feel good about this. we need to then think about it, yes, absolutely. But try to see the positives in whatever that situation.
But the unknown is not a negative.
Yeah, no.
The unknown is the unknown.
Yes.
I'm not treating it as a negative, but how do you attach yourself to two roads? One is unknown, and the other one you're playing is safe. But to advance in your life, you got to play the unknown.
Unknown.
But it's not a fear, it's just the unknown.
Perfect. Actually, that's a beautiful, yeah, it makes 100%. You go with, Freddie, you go with your, it's not fear. You go in, my show, go into the unknown. So go with your feelings at that point. Even if you start thinking about it, it can become fear. If you start thinking about it, it also could become positive. So, and I think you would agree with me, not to take away from what you were going to say, but you go with that. You go into the unknown with a feeling of positivity that it's going to work out. Because if you go in with that feeling and you say it's not going to work out, that's what's going to happen. But you go into the unknown.
If you go directly towards the unknown, you'll experience change. Change is
That's
inevitable.
what I was going to say.
And if you stay in comfortability, you're not going to experience anything different. So this exact moment will look like your next day, and your next day will look like the next day.
Perfect.
A new day is always literally a new day. It's not your yesterday. You can learn from yesterday, but if you think about yesterday, your next day is going to be your yesterday.
And the most important word there is change.
Yes.
Because if we don't, we're stagnant in where we are. So having that feeling that you might have is great, because you're going to change something. And you're not even aware of what you're going to change, right?
Fear and anxiety is just another emotion that you're letting in through your thoughts
I
because
knew
of
we
certain
could
things
communicate. I
that's
knew that
happened
when
to
I
you
met
before.
you last week, yes.
It's all about that, because anything that's happened to you before is what's going to gear you of what your next choice will be. And specifically me joining this place to be here with you, you know, I was scared to come in and join, you know, because I wanted to make sure I had a good face as a new person here and what I'm capable of doing. So I feel really grateful to even meet you. Like I said, I never met a psychic in person. I follow a lot of guides.
That
but
really touched me when you said that the other day.
it really makes me feel happy, because I know I was meant to come here to meet him, to meet you, to meet all you guys here. More people to hear different experiences
I hope
of life.
Dawn's listening to this.
know?
Dawn is listening, right?
I know, I
She's the
explained it
one
to her as
behind all
well.
this.
It's just,
Freddie
it's a
and
high
Dawn
feeling.
are amazing. They're
I know, and I
amazing,
hope to continue my work here with them. I'm really grateful
Beautiful.
for this opportunity, no matter what.
From me, from a point of view that I've been coming to the studio now for 2 years, you couldn't have met better people.
If you
know
just
that.
keep radiating that gratitude, that's the number one thing.
Absolutely, and I have tremendous gratitude for having this platform to express that. So it's all about, we're expressing love. It's all
Fighting.
about love, right? Which it is. Yeah.
It's inspiring.
It's
It's
inspiring.
being in spirit.
It is.
That's exactly what I said instantly when I first
Yes.
walked in and sat down. I was like, wow, these people
And we
have something to
right
say.
away, really.
Everybody has something to say in their own way, and I love that.
And energy together is synergy. It's
Mhm.
when the magic happens. It's a synergy. We're all collaborating and growing, inspiring you, inspiring the people that are watching.
I have goosebumps.
So we're all part of it. I mean, I probably just because, you know, I have the show here, but to bring people in, which is amazing to hear you all talk. Without this, I don't have a show. I mean, I can talk all I want about what happened to me, but it's so good to have this feedback from the people that nothing is coincidence. You guys are all meant to be here together at the same time, including you, Freddie.
Thank you, Freddie.
It isn't me. It's, you know, I look at this business now 22 years. It's like picking grapes and making a fine wine. And everybody in here is a grape. And everybody brings what they know, whether you don't know what you know yet or you're getting there. You know, I got a bunch of producers that are leaving me tomorrow. That's going to be a tough day tomorrow because they've been with me for a while. But then the new batch comes in and we start again.
There we go.
And the new batch comes in and we start again. And the amazing thing is that I've learned never to take doubt as your future. Because
Right.
if you take what you believe in, you said about the past, and you live on that, you're going to continue to meet people like Mark and Sylvia and whatever her name is here. You're going to continue to meet people
My
like that.
guest. That's right.
And it's going to grow, keep going until the right time comes. And then you're going to say, wow, I'm glad I did this. I wish Dawn was here.
I was just going to say the only one missing in the scenario here of all us sitting here is Dawn.
Yeah, because
she's part of this whole
But she
group.
said yes. It took 4 years for Dawn to come.
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah. But
it was no for 4 years.
But change, that's where change comes in. She may have been a little apprehensive, but look how everything that happened. Change is a really important word, actually, and follow that change.
Very.
And that's a very good example.
Well,
it is.
The more
Yes.
the more platforms you have to give you an opportunity to drink from that wine,
Exactly.
the better things will be. It's isolation that creates the problem.
Right.
Being away, not admitting that perhaps you can learn something today. That's the problem.
The curiosity comes to me a lot. It has, especially today, the curiosity, because that means you want to learn something. And if it's something that we all relate to here, and we all come out with our various situations, including you, and you're just starting on this, which is amazing, that curiosity needs to be expressed. This is what I'm feeling very much so. And other people will relate to exactly what you're talking about, because that's the vibrational energy. We're not alone here. As I said, I feel like all our guides are sitting up there wanting me to express it. The fact that I'm expressing it, I'm no different to anybody else sitting here. You can express exactly what I'm doing, and guys, you know that you can express this that way, and especially you too. But I'm just the mouthpiece for right now to pass this message on. There are other people that will continue. We'll come back and we'll do the same. So the more people that can grow together with this amazing experience, it really is an amazing experience here on Earth, we will continue. We never lose. And my guide used to tell me this when because he was in physicality, that we won't lose what we learn. So even when we transition and come back, it's still in our psyche. It's in our, what he used to say, even more than our subconscious, it's below that. It goes to somewhere else. So whatever we learn is the beginning of a new journey to continue this. Oh my gosh, I'm
Do
deep
your
in
book
this.
get your book and say goodbye.
Okay, this is my book. Okay, I really would like you viewers, if you would just to read what my experience was. It was a lot through documentation of my dreams that I put in here, which has continued my journey to my next book that will be coming out in about 4 or 5 months. So if you read this, perhaps you can relate to some of what I said. I hope that you can. And my drawings are in here too. I had no idea what I was drawing. So it's interesting, okay? And I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you guys next week. It was a beautiful, thank you very much to all the people that participated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you at the Lionsgate.
Yes. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.